Amazon in trouble. How many of you got affected by Amazon? If you are playing Duolingo, if Clash of Royale, in fact, Canva, also one of the parties that got hit by this Amazon hiccup. Yesterday, when I want to do some research, I go Market Watch. The Market Watch is down. I was thinking, what happened to it? But when I come back to evening, only then I know AWS has some issue. So in Amazon service, you see this like error 500. Let's see who are the parties that got affected. So coming at Snapchat, I'm using Snapchat, this is the Gen Z thing. Roblox, even Disney Plus, Netflix, use Venmo, is got affected as well. Traders like using Robinhood or even Coinbase, there's a lot of parties got affected. But what they first reported is there's this US East-1 region that got affected, and the underlying DNS issue affect all the web services. So what Amazon claims is this: there's this issue that resulted from an engineer misspelling a command. Actually, it's CrowdStrike removal of large chunk of those code, which is server for one of the S3 subsystem. So in short, there's this, I guess it's a junior engineer, I just guess, I don't know which rank it is. This engineer misspell something, miscode something, and then upload or remove the code, and resulted, you cannot access Robinhood, you cannot access Snapchat, you cannot access Duolingo. This is what happened to CrowdStrike. if just S3 subsystem alone, right, it's not an issue. The issue is the removal of this chunk of S3 code. It has a cascading effect in the rest of the services. For example, the Amazon Elastic Block Store, the AWS reliant on this so-called S3 subsystem code. And when this happens, the problem is they need to reboot the system, but the reboot takes time because they need to reboot the server-wide. When I heard about this news, I have trouble understanding what exactly happening behind. So I asked ChatGPT, can you explain to me in a layman system? Alright, so imagine right now, we have a GPS system, and everyone, like from Grab driver, Food Panda, or even McDonald's delivery, are relying on this GPS system. And this GPS system, there's a portion of the code got wiped off. So what happened is, when I key in a location, for example, I key in Orchard, because of this data or this code being removed, I couldn't locate Orchard Road. The map cannot locate. And because of this, all the Grab driver, all the Food Panda cannot find Orchard Road. So this have resulted in chaos in all the, not just delivery service. So let's say you thought, only Grab and Food Panda got affected. No. People like maybe Ninja Van, or people like your SingPost. So even DHL, all this chain of companies got affected. And more importantly, if it's a national security system, for example, traffic police, right, it got affected as well. So the junior engineer, that not being named, got to fix this mistake, right? So what got to do? They need to reboot the system. And the reboot takes time, 15 to 18 hours. Just as similar to CrowdStrike, they need to put in protocol just to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So there's no single engineer can delete something without double confirmation. And right now, the system need to divide into smaller portion, which is the S3 need to divide into smaller portion. So let's say it got crashed again, it will not be as bad. There's so-called like the fire drill need to be more regular in their system. Means the engineer need to go through fire drill more often, so that they know when this happen, they know how to fix that. When this thing happen, the company need to be liable, and they need to compensate what losses that happen out there. No matter how big the company is, you didn't serve whatever you promised. Your stock price should go down. I thought Amazon might pose an opportunity for investor. I would say not even dropping, not even moving. It's just like normal, just go up and down. It's just normal trading, you just go up and down. So what's the difference between Amazon compared to CrowdStrike, right? Because CrowdStrike, when they have this issue, right, the blue screen of death that happened across Microsoft, everyone posting all the news, everyone is sharing like, wow, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, the whole airport system jam. CrowdStrike have this so-called push some updates that remove in the core system of the OS that resulted 8.5 million Microsoft Windows devices to crash. They just like announce or offer this, call it CCP, stand for Customer Commitment Package, with amount of 60 million credits for people to claim. So as a token, to apologize what happened to the system. And in actual fact, Delta Airlines estimate has lost 500 million due to losses and stuff. But in the end, CrowdStrike only paid 10 million credits to them. CrowdStrike, at the day that happened, the stock price dropped 11%. and through the top to the bottom, right, it dropped close to 36%. There's some slight difference between these two incidents. For our CrowdStrike, it's mainly for this software update. Just like AWS is a faulty update, but it's more closely related to DNS issue. And then what happened is the fixing doesn't happen at client side. The fixing happened at AWS side. So analogy, so there's this issue that happened, and you pay service for it. And when you pay service to the service provider, when the issue happened, one situation is, sorry, you need to fix at your end. And another situation is, sorry, there's some issue, let me fix. So situation A, which is, sorry, I need to fix at your end, is CrowdStrike. Compared to AWS is, sorry, there's something happened, let me fix it. So that's why I felt that maybe the repercussion is not as strong, although the losses might be similar. What happened right here is they didn't announce like estimated losses. There's no market estimation of how much losses right there. But I felt that it's just because the solution slightly different. That's why the repercussion is different. And also AWS, they take shorter time to recover in a sense because AWS can do all the fixing compared to CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike need to go to client end to do all the fixing. Although it's still like 15-18 hours, is still shorter compared to CrowdStrike. But from what they conclude, the economic losses might be bigger because affected a lot more party. Not forgetting Amazon AWS is the biggest cloud solution provider. So there's not much being disclosed, but yeah, that's why the stock price doesn't affect it as. So what we see right here is it may not resulted in AWS need to compensate all like losses. But let's see. They have the post-mortem. Let's see what they are going to share with their clients in compensation they need to pay. I personally think it's kind of like a good indication sign when Amazon stock price doesn't move as much. Why? Because it shows that the clients is reliant on Amazon even though they have hiccups. And actually this doesn't happen like new to Amazon. The same S3 issue, right, happened a few years ago. In actual fact, happened twice. And even after happening twice, Amazon have the bargaining power because this switching cost that their client couldn't bear. So, as an investor, the share price doesn't move. Is it a good time to invest? Is it a good opportunity to invest? So tonight, I'll be using Fiscal.ai to share about the company valuations, more of like the peer valuations, not the absolute so-called discounted cash flow, DCF valuation methods. It's more like the relative comparison method. So here, I compared with the Magnificent Seven. You see that Amazon, their price to sales relative valuations is at 3.53. So compared to Nvidia at 27 times, compared to Tesla at close to 15 times, Microsoft in the teens, Amazon is at the lower end. Okay, so compared to the Magnificent Sevens, the relative price to sales valuations is comparatively lower, right? But their valuation also came up recently to 2.7. So if you look at their so-called 3 years average, it's also at 3.5 times. So compared to the 3.4 times, 3 years average valuations, right? So right now, you can say that actually they are so-called fair value. So compared to Nvidia, compared to all the Magnificent Seven, actually their price to sales level is kind of like at a fair value. So whenever there's things that happen that jig the pricing, and if the incident doesn't really break the company, and in fact actually make the company stronger, feel stronger in some sense, yeah, it might give you some sense of the business fundamental. Then when you look at valuation, that's where you decide, hey, is this a good time? Is this a good pricing to go in? Right? So hoping linking all these incidents to the company valuations give you some sense when things happen, how, in my point of view, how I analyze this situation.
Thanks for watching to the end. If you like this, do subscribe and comment on what you would like us to cover next, and share this with your friend who are building their wealth too.